Okay, the gates open, we come out, we realize that it is Feral, Hunter, Holy Paladin. I then decide to go on the Hunter and attempt to get him out of the shot. I do not. So I switch to the Paladin here. We're hoping we can get some early cooldowns out of him, possibly a Trinket, maybe some defensives. We get a Divine Protection out of him. I'm going to get cloned here off of him. I have no way to stop it. We really need to just stop their burst on our Hunter and prevent CCs on our Paladin. Okay? I get rooted here. I have no way out of it. We just need to attempt to keep pressure up on someone because they're just going to train our Hunter into the ground. I'm keeping quite good pressure up on him. They're going to clone our Paladin right here. I try and do whatever I can to stop any damage. I prevent myself from getting trapped right there on the ground. I know they're going hard on Hunter. Our Paladin has to use Hand of Protection, so we know we need to force some defenses out of them. So at this point, we're looking for a swap to any of the DPS. You know, I think that we cannot kill the Feral Druid, so I decide to stay on the Hunter. I try to intervene that Bear Bash there. It still goes off. I wasn't in time. At this point, I am still riding the Hunter. The Feral's clone doesn't go off there because I LOS'd it. I know he's casting on me. I reflect it right here. This is a big burst opportunity here. I start going hard on the Hunter right here. Feral is just trinketed. They're going to maim me, so I can't intervene the trap. So they're attempting to kill a Hunter again, but I see that he is fine, so I decide to stay on the Hunter, not trying to peel the Feral or anything. You know, you really just need to keep your pressure up when you're playing almost a mirror, you know, with a Feral in place of a warrior. Being the warrior, you need to try and keep as much pressure as possible. Many warriors make the mistake of trying to peel way too much. That Hunter has so many ways to get out of stuff, and the Paladin has so many ways to complement him, along with his freedom, the Hunter's freedom, anything they need. Okay, after all this, I have to Trinket because I want to be able to stay offensive, and I do not want to get bursted behind a pillar. I switch to Fairho to try and get the Paladin to swap some cooldowns him. We get a Scatter. He's attempting to trap him, which is what any Hunter should do here. I almost kill the Feral here. He's forced to pop Bark Skin. At this point, I realize it's a good way, you know, it's a good time to swap off. I go back to the Hunter as soon as I can. The Paladin gets Monkey stunned into a full trap, which is really good. This gives burst opportunity. Paladin has to Trinket that right there. I silence Paladin with my Gag Order Heroic Throw. I mean, as a warrior for this comp, you need to play Gag Order. The extra silence helps on your pummel and everything. The Hunter is in deterrence here at 1%. He survives. Nothing I can do right here. I attempt to get back on Hunter. I get rooted. I'm trying to get as much burst, and I finish him off here at the end. Okay, so the gates open, and we do realize that it is a Kitty Cleave. At this point, we've decided that the warrior would be the best target first, because the warrior lacks, you know, defensive cooldowns, whereas a Feral and a Holy Paladin has quite a bit of defensive cooldowns. And for myself, playing a warrior, I know that the warrior won't be able to survive the pressure that we'll be able to put out. So we hope that we can get an early Trinket out of the warrior here. The Paladin gets full trap by our Hunter. It's a good trap. I see the Feral as an instant clone. I reflect his instant clone because I knew he was going to go for me to try and peel my DPS since I'm on the warrior. The warrior tries to fear me. I Trinket that. The Paladin is Aura Master, so there's really nothing we can do right now. I knock him down because he has no Trinket. I full fear him right there. This is a full fear on the Paladin. This is exactly what you want to do. You want the healer to lose their Trinket early, and then they have nothing out of this. So at this point, we're on the warrior. He's very, very low. We think we're going to be able to finish him. He dies. And simply that was because the warriors have no survivability past their shield wall and rallying cry, really. You know, possibly the enraged regen, but that's just not enough to save you with an MS effect on you and 2 physical damage turreting into you. It was a good trap on my Hunter early on to force a Trinket, and that is what you have to do as KFC. You're not going to be able to get anything if you're not able to line up your CC. Okay, so we're waiting for the gates to open. The gates open up, and we realize that it is a very different comp that you don't see very often, but can kill warriors and Holy Paladins very, very easily. It's Holy Paladin, Marksman Hunter, Subtlety Rogue. I intervene the early sap, hoping that he can get in combat after this. They do, in fact, get the Rogue out, but the Paladin still gets sapped. At this point, it's a bad opener for us. They're going hard on our Hunter. They sack initially. The Paladin is already blown a defensive cooldown here to stay out of CC. I stun the Hunter. He Trinkets. This is exactly what we want. Our Paladin's going to get trapped here. I run over to make sure it doesn't happen. The Hunter does not cast the trap following up that scatter. They silence him. I'm attempting to peel as best I can here. They do get the trap. He Trinkets into a full blind. But he gets a sack up after that, so it removes the blind. Okay, the Paladin is Hodge here. Hunter is getting bursted quite hard. He's very, very low. This is exactly what you need to do. You need to keep pressure up at all times. Most people want to overthink the situation and attempt to do, you know, flashy stuff. But in most cases, when you're playing a comp like this, you know, you just need to land your CC and do as much damage as possible while protecting your healer and your other DPS. I mean, it's not much harder than that. You just need to play extremely smart and know when to peel and when to just go all out and tunnel DPS. You know, because I see far too many times that people will be playing and they won't do enough DPS because they're attempting to peel and do flashy stuff. So at this point, we're on the rogue. We fear the paladin. He has no trinket. The paladin continues to sit in my fear, does not bubble. He holds bubble. Rogue pops evasion. They start doing quite a bit of damage to me, but I don't panic because I know that their rogue is low. The paladin bubbles, and then I shattering throw him, blanket pummel him into another DR silence so my hunter may finish him off after cheat death. This is one of the main reasons why you must play gag order for this comp. You're able to single-handedly lock out a healer for quite some time. This is a game against an RMP. As soon as you realize an RMP, you know that you must support your warrior as well as possible, along with the Holy Paladin, because RMPs are notorious for killing Holy Paladins and warriors. We get the rogue out with a flare because I intervened his sap. I knock him down. This forces an early trinket. This is a great opener because the rogue is without a trinket now. I silenced the mage and Bladestormed through his Ring of Frost. Now, this is another reason why gag order is so important, because right there I was able to stop their smoke bomb opener on our hunter, which stopped quite a bit of damage. Now, with KFC against this comp, you almost always need to ride the mage to stop pressure until you can get a good swap, or just ride the mage until you can kill him when he is out of cooldowns. One of the main things you need to do is separate the DPS from the healers so that there's no way that they can stop any of the hunter's traps or any of the CC. If they're all too close, they will stop majority of his traps. Now, coming into this, I attempt to fear, but the hunter does not get fear with Trank. I had wasted my fear at that point. He stuns him into a full trap. This is another reason why you must keep the DPS away. The mage attempts to blink it, but does not get it. The priest trinkets, I attempt to stop his fear. You always want to attempt to stop fears on your paladin if possible, even if it means using cooldowns, because this usually is the CC chains which gets you killed. After the fear lands, I blanket this mage to attempt to stop any burst that may go on while the paladin is feared. At this point, we're still riding the mage. He's in the open. Our paladin gets deeped, so I make sure to stay on the mage to prevent any polys from going off. The mage is getting trucked right now. This is one of the reasons why hunters are so good against this comp. His block comes off, and we continue to ride the mage because they're not putting out any fourth pressure to where we need to stop anything. I Bladestorm to get out of that Nova, stop, and then pummel so they do not force our paladin's bubble. You really need to communicate with your paladin to let him know what you can stop so he does not get killed in the global or die without bubbling. Because if a bubble is used too early, then it's wasted, and a bubble is used too late, then the paladin is usually dead. I pummel his evocate. He's getting no heals here. We feel that we can kill him before hypothermia because I get a knockdown here, DR knockdown. He ice blocks. I'm attempting to shattering throw it and then pummel the priest. I have no rage, cannot pummel. We continue to ride the mage. He gets gripped. We know that he's all out of ice blocks. The priest is the only thing that can keep him alive. And we know all we have to do is to kill